Happy Fun Day, everybody.
Oh, what a night.
We were already laughing our asses off just sitting in the studio. So, welcome and let the games begin.
Mm.
And Carolyn in the background, Norma Jean, of course, and Chastia. How you doing today, Chastia?
Hi, we are making it.
Absolutely.
We have no other choice.
The energy's just a little weird today.
Mhm.
It's a little disconnected. It's a little spacey feeling. No Kevin intended.
Yeah, right?
He's gonna feel left out. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He does have Mars retrograde in his chart though.
Oh hell, I suppose that's why he just got mentioned. That's it.
Right. Makes you a little spacey.
Yeah.
And grateful you're all here. We've got Enter the Void, Just Fritz, Matthew, and Dr. Dawn. That's
Hey
who's
Don.
commented
Hey
so far, but there's
Matthew.
more of you. Yeah. We're super grateful you're here today. We're going to play some games today, but first we're just going to do a little check-in around the energies. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Alicia. Kriba, Shay. Woohoo! The party's getting started. Awesome. And we're super grateful you're here. So important to remember that you may not understand some of the conversation, and that's okay. You will. You will. So often some of these things are quite either high vibrational or esoteric or mystic. And we're just going to continue the conversation and let it flow. So ask any questions you have, and we're here to co-create with you.
How's
You want to talk?
everybody feeling? I want to know how everybody's feeling today and give me the honest truth because let me tell you, I wasn't sparkling like this a few hours ago. Like I had to pull it together.
Yeah. Hi, Sun Dancer. I had a nap today, in and out of sleep a little bit, and did get out. I send myself to the woods. You're going to the woods, get your ass in the woods. So whenever I'm feeling a little, it's 5 minutes up the road, and I just go. So tired, releasing, snoozy. I like that
Yeah,
word,
like in a
snoozy.
dream space.
Slow nut good. Okay, cool.
Like I've like feeling like my brain has just been like kind of off.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it when I was driving back from Bryan College Station yesterday as I was going through all that about, and I kept hearing in my head what I was saying was Mars, we're cutting you off. Mars, we're cutting you off. I kept hearing it in my head playing over and over as I was driving 80 miles an hour in that mess. And that's what it feels like. It feels like kind of unplugged.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just got unplugged.
Interesting.
I can see that. I also feel too that every time we go through, and if I keep saying this, that it feels like at the end of the year, it's that time to reassess, let go of what you no longer like. No, no, no. What resonates with you now, and choose that. What resonates with you now, and choose that, and then clear anything out of the way that does not resonate with that anymore. Physical, mental, emotional. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to. I had, it's strange because it's like being where I'm at. It's like I laid down just taking a nap right before this, just to relax and rest because just been kind of doing a little bit of
Okay.
gathering of information to have a more of a clarity of understanding, especially on this astronomy side of things. And it's like what fascinates me is you never know what's going to come through, given what you're listening to and how it affects you, given what the frequency and the tone of music or whatever it is that you may utilize to relax yourself with. So it was like this heartfelt feeling of just some realizations and recognitions of some experiences I had last year. That was just coming through for me, where there was a sense of a certain level of like not as much clarity, in the perspective or the perception of, like myself, others in the way that they perceive me. So it's like, but what came through the most was that part that I remember having where it was, I don't want to fail. And so I'm sitting here and, and this is going through my mind, and it's in my heart. It's just, I'm feeling it, and it's like I'm at this point and I look at things and I know I'm not failing, but it doesn't mean that that feeling is not going to come forward given what our experiences have been, especially these last few months where you put yourself in that place where you just feel it. You just got to let yourself feel it, because it's still that other mirrored perspective of where you're at right now, knowing what you're wanting to accomplish in what it is you're in the process of creating through those, through those emotions, those feelings. So I've come to understand about myself that when I'm having these feelings, just have them, because that helps move that energy. It helps release that energy. And what happens is that in that release, it's not being held within. So that way it moves it out and gives you that chance and opportunity to utilize that now kind of what you would say empty space to fill up with what it is that you are in the process of creating. And through those accomplishments, you have that space to put that there.
100% all of that. And y'all talk to me on the back end. I mean, these two ladies have been helping keep me sane. My other two ladies that have been helping keep me sane are glad to have two around to help me keep me sane. That's not them. Because we have to have because it's clearing and it's releasing these doubts, self-fears, whatever. But here's what hear all of that, and I don't want to take anything away from what you said.
No, please.
All I want to say is to remind everybody from the highest perspective when you're going through it. And this is what I've been seeing over here the past week. What I've been waking up every morning with. It's like in the wee morning hours, the whole collective is going through a strainer, or they're going through a filter, or they're going through this or that. And every morning when I'm waking up, the main thing I'm my images that I'm even seeing are how strong our frequency changes, and then how these other realities are existing within these different frequency bands.
Yep.
And what it's showing me is that it's impossible for you to go backwards, and as long as you, and that's the one thing that I kept in my head the whole time through this, because there would be times where I think I'd made a mistake, and oh my God, I made a mistake. Or even the past week or so, I'm like, I'm just making sure that I'm still on what I know is the good side.
Right.
I
know that feeling.
Let's just let this physics settle a little bit. Let's make sure we don't need to tweak some shit. Let's make sure that we're, because it's really changing that much. But that's why all these little self-doubts and everything else come in. The other part of this that everyone, I think, is just now starting to really realize and get is that your DNA produces your reality, and it's gonna come up. No, like you can't get out of it. And this is where you start seeing the different branches in the DNA lines and how closely we really are all connected, because that's whenever those experiences, literally the reason you're having the experience is because the energy is flushing through your field and it's projecting the experience.
Yeah.
So what's happening too with a lot of us is you want to clear that, you want to talk about it, you want to get it out, any type of self-doubt and all that stuff, because it's trying to be cleared so it doesn't get projected.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Yeah.
And when we talk about clearing the bloodlines, and all these, all of our timeline weaves and all these things that we've been doing as far as clearing, and the marriages that we've had as time travel, some of the children we've had as, star seeds coming back in, and clearing all all of those curses and da 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 da. Everybody realized that they are there are the programs are finished. It's like if you're in one of those bloodline programs, there's there in every level there's a level up to another level up, and there is no way to get trapped. There's always a back door to it. But whenever you clean that, when the energies line up to come in and XYZ happened on that same energy in your family and da da da, and you wouldn't know, how would you know? Then that's when it won't stick. And it's like you've already greased the wheel. So in the projection, it might not all the way come, it might show up for the neighbor, or you might see it, or it might happen to you a little bit, or it might but it's only because it's projecting through. And that's what that is. You get out, when we've cleaned so much of that and the frequency goes up, you're still going to have the residue of it.
Yep. That makes complete sense.
Yeah. That's what I've been seeing with this from that hot physics thing. At the same time that I'm just like, my brain is mush. I can't even talk. I can barely do
Right.
And that's important too, right? That rest, that allowance. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of like flushing my system, just visualizing white light in all the cells and run like almost like a tube running up and down me. So I can just lie in bed and I just do my own little cleaning. Yeah, come on, DNA, you got this. We got this.
Did y'all want me to look? You said look at the energies. Did y'all want me to look at the energies really quick?
Well, why don't you fill everyone in on Mars?
Kevin Spacey. Mars retrograde is abuse of power. And so a lot of people that have Mars retrograde, if you have Mars retrograde in your chart, then that means that someone in you're from a line, you're incarnated in a line, or you're in a bloodline that has abused their power in whatever way, depending on what degree it's on when you have Mars retrograde. And so no matter if it was, because it's usually not you, it was like your grandpa or if you come from a royal line and you happen to be the princess, like if you're Dubai princess, then holy fuck. Right? Because it's loading off on you and Mars retrograde. So it's in number 12, which is the hybrid. This is the hybrid Leo degree. And this is a Zeta Reticuli point. I don't talk about it with CoHue because I plan on not keeping manifesting it. So we changed it. It's more of we just call it a hybrid point now because it is what it is. But it is a separation from your etheric body. So with that's where it is right now for the collective. But in this one it's like Mars is going backwards because it's in that separation. It's like we're sending Mars back into the cub degrees in order to get the lions together, get the cubs together, and then we're going to be going a different, literally in Leo it's a trip, the wheel in Leo. There really is, like, because Leo is the settings for sickness and death and everything else, and Leo's all the DNA lines that have ever existed, blah 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 blah, and then all the death that ever existed from it for a million years. So there really was there's like two different settings, because Leo, we changed the Leo setting from Libra. Libra had all the libraries, and this is what we were doing, was correcting the DNA counts, getting we're having to build an ecosystem for us to exist with all these new codes.
That makes sense.
And so that's what we've been doing. So we're going back and picking up the cubs. And this time Venus has already cleaned this. We've already cleaned, but the Leos that we all know, and Leo is gonna change because Leo is either having to deal with all the energetic responses of what he's been up to, from a cosmic perspective, because this is what Leo hasn't had to worry about before. Leo has never had to worry about dancing at the wrong time, maybe starting a tidal wave, getting in a plane, accidentally dumping the world upside down because he wasn't being conscious. Because Leo was just running around in little Mickey Mouse Walt Disneyland. now it's connected into the cosmos, right? So and your ancestors and the pure ancestor, and it's bridging the dark side to the light side is what we would call it. So anyway, that Mars going backwards right now, and this is why we're seeing, like the stuff with Syria happened today. Like, I mean, everything's nuts, because not only is Pluto, because Pluto's in Aquarius, but Venus went over Pluto in Aquarius, making it real, right? So that's all happening as we're going backwards and picking up the children, and then moving on this on a higher. It's just it got a lot bigger, because now Leo's having to connect into their etheric body and having to deal with the fact that they have those powers. They have to be responsible with them. They can't hand that ability off to somebody else. They can't utilize somebody else's power and pay the consequence for using the cosmic power, and them just get the celebrity role in the Rolls Royce. So that's what's happening, like in with all over the place.
Yeah, that's all. That's just a few
all of
things.
that.
And a bag of chips.
I mean, there's so many scenes going on with it right now, all over. At the same time, it's like what else is coming in and starting to, even for all of us who have walked this journey, is all the experimentations that have been done and all the information coming about the experimentations that we knew were always being done on all of us. I mean, it's like, because I mean, we're still trying to figure out who the fuck we are and where we came from and how we can do the shit that we can do. We knew that we were in an experimental program. We know, that they've been baby farming and da 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 da. I'm very familiar that the reason that we have all the abilities that we have are because some of us come from the lines that were the ones that were being sought on, experimented on, shock therapy, which no matter then became the hybrid template for the line. So but no matter, we can talk spiritual about that and be like, yeah, we come, but I mean, in the physical, whenever you're finding out, shit, well, that my parents were experimented on, that's how they got me, then they're tracking us because we can do these crazy things, and this is how they're throwing us out in space and shit, and nobody believes them. Nobody believes us when they're doing it, but they can't control us, da 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 da. But we're all hooked into this one consciousness, and everybody's having to open up all those channels that have been made in their lines that were kept separate from them. So I don't know. I mean, that's all that going on. My brain just went out.
That's okay. That's more than enough going on, and we don't want to overtax your brain after you had a nice rest today.
But that's why I was talking about doing what we're doing, because what we talked about it earlier, and no matter how conscious that you get, and now how many clairs that the clair audience, clair whatever, clair that you're that are getting clearer and clearer, figuring out how you read it and what's coming in is the most important part, but it's the part that we overlook a lot because we don't practice. And that's, I think that's a lot of what's showing up for all of us right now is figuring out, how are we reading this energy? You know, how are we picking it up? And so what we talked about was doing a little sessions. And so Norma Jean has picked out a place, and I'm going to let her talk about it in a minute. I'm just going to set it up. Has picked out a place that I don't know where it is. Do you know, Tanja? Nope.
That's
I don't
why
either.
I'm keep them separated. That's why I'm up here.
She's like,
That's
you're not
why
going to
we're
tell me
Now
up
I
about
got
the
that
bridge.
song in my head. Hey, no. So, well, I wonder if that's a clue.
Oh, you have just wait for it.
Is that a clue? So Norma Jean has picked up, has written down a place, and she's got a picture of it, I think, image pulled up. And we're gonna first just tune in and see if what we're picking up. And so if you wanna type in the chat, and Tanja's gonna help read because I can barely read him. So we're gonna
That's okay.
we're gonna try
Yeah.
to figure out what is the place that Norma Jean has and that has
So-
picked.
And before you get all up in your head, you guys take a few deep breaths and just go into your void, whatever that may be for you, and see what you pick up and tune into. And then type it in the chat. It's a place.
I see boxes, like an arch box.
It's a city.
I don't know. All I see is boxes. I see arches,
Like-
like a whole bunch of them. Blue. Tree.
Looks
She
like
said tree.
the Cheshire
Pyramids.
Cat. Big Dipper. You're good. Please pay attention while you're driving. We got Arizona.
Oh no, somebody's driving. Put a protection bubble around that person. We don't want to scare them off
Right?
the road. Hawaii. Are we okay, Norma Jean? Or to give us something. Don't tell us yet. But give us
Is
something.
anybody close?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me, eyes closed. Sailboat. Greece? Is it Greece?
Look on your shirt. What's on your
These?
shirt? Oh, okay, dream. Okay, I thought it said Greece, and I was like,
And I wasn't. I don't know why I wore this either, because it was sitting down there. I was like, I think it's gonna come up. Why? But so someone got Hawaii. Okay, now I want to know. Now. Okay, do you have the image?
Mhm.
Show us the image, please.
All right.
Because I want
Just
to. I want
here.
now. See, I want to look. Everyone who didn't get it, I want to. We're gonna dig into what you did see.
Right.
I want to. Yeah, everyone. So let's see that. Yeah.
All right. Give me just a second here.
I just saw little boxes. It was like little arches.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Is it up on the screen, T?
Yeah, but now you just need to add to the stage. There we go.
And blue. That's what I was seeing with blue.
Yep. And arches and little boxes.
Wow. Okay, so
let's go through these, because some of them are very relevant in many ways. So I saw the Big Dipper.
Yeah, I wonder what was lining up like cosmically with Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's a tree right here. So somebody saw a tree.
Hawaii too. Someone said Hawaii because like there's you could like this this part of the picture right up here on a puzzle does look like Hawaii.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Same with Arizona.
Yeah. Yep.
And I mean, and all mountain peaks to me look like pyramids these days. So
Oh wow, I love this image game better. Yes, let's do another one.
Okay.
And while you're looking at another one, then I can do one the old school way. Unless
Yeah.
we want to keep, unless we want to, do we want to do another one, everybody?
Let's do the pictures because I think you've got a broader chance of success.
Well, but there's a reason I want to do.
Okay, you can do the other one too. You can do whatever you want. It's our
We'll do a
it's our
picture.
game
I
show.
just want. I want. Whoa. Oh my gosh!
look
And there's
at,
20.
Look at the curtains coming down, guys.
You couldn't see it. There's 23 written over here, and it says active. 23 active. I don't know. This is gonna. Uh-oh. This might. I'm losing my backdrop. All right.
Okay.
Now
The veil is thinning.
I'm gonna do the same one. Oh shoot! I shouldn't have said that. Do you have another image already?
Give me just a second. I can look for one.
No, I'm
I
gonna
have
do this because
plenty
I
of
want to
those.
see. I want to see what people see. Okay. When you do, and I don't want to call this remote viewing, okay, because we don't want a remote view. We just want to tune in to see what we're seeing, because you're gonna remote view inside you, basically, not remote view on it right now. You want to just focus on the word. So I have one word that I picked out that is a place. It's a place, and it's talked about a lot. It's got a lot of different things that it's talked about. So everyone should be able to focus in on it. Now, if everybody would, I'm going to show, this is the old way of doing this, and because we do things differently. Some of us are going to see the picture. That's why I was seeing blue. Whenever you're writing it and doing another way, you might pick up a different mechanic of it. So I'm going to write down, if you have a pen, grab a pen, and I'll wait a minute. Grab a pen and a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be fancy. And I'm going to make it, and what I'm doing is I'm going to put a number. I'm assigning a number to the place. And so what I want you to do, it's one word. It's like charades. And the number is 1. So I want you to write down, and then when you write down this number, say in your mind, Chastia, show me what it is. Tune me into 18319. And I'm just going to keep saying it in my head over and over. Tell me what you're seeing. Come on, I know you're seeing some.
I'm seeing Colorado.
I got A. Yeah, I got an A in white.
That's it. That was
Kriba
it.
got
Kriba got
Kriba.
it. That
Woo!
was it. That was it. She picked it. It's Antarctica. We'll make it real easy.
Beautiful.
See, this is a good way too to test, because see, and did that one, here's what I want to know. Did the first one we did it from the image, and how and what came through the second time? How did it come through, and how did it come through different? Tanja, because you did both.
Yeah, I did both. I did better with the second one.
What did that say?
Volcanoes and mountains, Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
Dr.
Yeah,
Dawn.
yeah.
So were you picking it up? How were you picking it up? What were you?
I kept getting white, and I'm like, anything can be white. So then I was questioning it, but it was like white. And then I was getting A, like I was getting like a strong A. Yeah.
Well, and the number, because I started out, I didn't do the whole word. That 818, the number was just some of the numerology from the word. I just didn't do the whole one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Anything else that anybody noticed that it was like a big differentiator from seeing the images versus me see, because also realize y'all are queen. You're turning into a queen. You're putting your crown on. There's a reason whenever you get your crown on, then you become a queen. You really are in your DNA line. You're the one who's sending out the messages. I talk to people a lot, like after whenever just in coaching and everything about this, there's you remember that you're sending out messages to everybody in your DNA line. You're constantly sending them out. So it's my son was so freaking good at this. Let me tell you, these children are really good at this. Now this might hit home to mothers on how this is happening in your life. And I'm gonna tell you a little. My son Rex is a freaking king. That boy shut down the internet during COVID when he didn't want to take a test. He didn't want to take the test. It's COVID. Everything was shut down. He shut down the internet because he has those mind powers. But he doesn't, you don't know that you do. Well, my son will sit in his room. He'd come here and play video games. He'd be sitting in his room and he was 12 years old. He didn't know how to make his own sandwich. He didn't know how to do all this stuff because me and my mom would just walk by and go, "Hey Rex, are you hungry?" You know, it's like we'd even talk about it behind the scenes. Rex has got to start getting up and making his own sandwich because he really has to learn how to make his own sandwich. And then and then Rex would get here, and me and my mom would just be bopping all over the house, and we'd find ourselves popping in there and going, "Rex, are you hungry?" And finally, see, once I got wise and once I got activated, I walked in there and I said, "Son, are you sitting in here telling me and Granny to come in here and ask you if you're hungry?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm sitting here going, I'm hungry. I'm hungry." And I'm like,
It happens to Tanya too. I watch it all the time. Because Jane does it.
yeah.
So do you.
I mean, but the children are
Actually,
so
I don't.
Oh no, you're subconsciously doing it. Do you want some grapes? Oh yeah. You're so focused on what you're doing, and you're so.
I forget. I am in two places at once. You called me. You called me.
Let me give you another example. On the journey, that she was an A negative, and this was one of the ones that was on the Creatrix, Casey. And this was 2018. And so she was around me, and her mind was super powerful. She barely said anything. You know, she barely said anything, but her mind was super, 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 super powerful. And she didn't have much. And I felt bad for her because the situation she was in. I was always trying to help her, but she was milking it. She was. They know how. They know how. And I didn't realize it until we got out of town and we were sitting there, and I was showing her something that was of value to me, which I didn't have much. I didn't have much either. But it wasn't anything valuable. It was just something. And I kept hearing in my head, "Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me." And I look, and she was standing right here. And I looked at her and I go, "Are you telling me in my head to give it to you? Because I hear you." And she was like, and then I realized, oh my God, that's what she's been doing the whole time. Like, everybody remember that just because you haven't mastered your mind focus and mind manipulation doesn't mean that the others haven't been working on it for thousands of years.
Right? Absolutely. Right? Yeah.
Okay, cool. Norman, you got another one?
Mm-hmm. Y'all ready?
Okay, let's take some dress again because that helped. So now this one's going to be images. So any colors you see, like And sometimes you don't even see it, y'all. If sometimes you might hear it in your head first. Like I didn't see blue. I didn't see blue when I said blue. I just heard blue. And I know better now when I hear it to say it.
You don't question, you just go. Go with what it's just that immediate first one that you get. Go with it. Don't question it.
Right. Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Getting red.
I'm hearing zombies. Cranberries?
Don't give it up yet. There's many more playing.
I don't even know. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. I don't know if that is any part thing of it.
Oh, maybe many colors.
Chocolate?
Are you hungry?
Right now, my colossum is like throbbing.
Your
Okay,
colossum?
I meant not my colossum, my cerebellum. I don't know where my colossum
Is it a coliseum?
It's colossal. Okay?
Is there a coliseum in the place? Is it a coliseum? You just said colossum. Someone's saying yellow. What a bit. I missed some of the other ones. What are they saying so far?
Dr. Don, we're looking at another photo, love. We got Santa Claus coming in. We've got brown, violet, New York City, yellow, Santa Claus.
Zombies, cranberries, and chocolate.
Zombies, cranberry, and chocolate.
Okay, is anybody close? What do we got?
Well, let me show you.
With aquamarine.
You got lots of colors coming in.
Sorry,
This is a really good exercise to play. And you know what else I do?
Vegas.
If somebody pops into my head, I start sending, hey, give me a call, phone me, so-and-so phone me. Or, right? So you start, or something specific towards them so that it'll come back to you in that way.
Can you see it?
Not until I put it on the screen.
Oh, okay.
And right now it's a black screen.
You did our live?
No.
Oh, it's the screen.
Hang on, I got to figure this out. I got to figure out what's not sharing.
I was just
All
making
right.
sure.
You tell me when you got it figured and.
All right.
I'll see it in the small screen now. Now it's us.
Okay,
I was like, Norma Jean, you sneaky snake. I thought that you were projecting us on ourselves and I was seeing zombies.
No, it's still just showing a black screen. You're not on the right tab.
Okay. Hang on.
Change your tab. Yeah.
Share.
Play is creating. Yeah. So don't
okay,
be
guys.
afraid.
Okay, so it's going through the processor now. So let's tune in one last time while she's doing this. Everyone in the audience, because now it's even kind of going through a processor. So if you get any last minute. Rhinestone?
A rhinestone cowboy.
No.
All right, here we go. Now you're ready.
Now we're ready. Thank you.
Ooh. Trip out.
You know, even just what you said just kind of corresponds to the colors, maybe even the feel. But in zombie, when you said zombie, I was like, well, she kind of does look like that in there, given that, you know, this is just a room of mirrors reflecting back on her.
Right.
And then and then I thought that that's what you did, you sneaky snake. I thought that you put up the reflection.
When you said that, I was like, whoa, wow, slow down. There's mirrors, but calm down.
Someone saw the pink. That was that carpet, because that carpet looks kind of red.
It's
Yeah.
actually cobblestone, I think.
And it looks like
Wow.
leaves and arches. Yeah. Yeah, there's aquamarine in the ribbon. Yeah, you guys all did great. Absolutely.
Wow.
And the walls are kind of yellowish. Just
Mhm.
going back to the comments, brown 100%.
Yep.
Wow.
And you can even see the detail kind of in her hair there. But as you can see, there's just different versions of her because this is kind of like being in one's own mind and having those mirror reflections coming from that film, given all the many characters that can ever exist in one's mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that was a cool pic. That's cool. Anybody else think of something that now makes sense that they didn't type?
Yeah. Oh, and look at the vine growing there. Yeah.
Yep.
I
See?
had to put it on the big screen. Roaring 20s dress. Yeah. Absolutely. Beautiful.
That-
Well done. So yeah, Chastia, if you want to, you can do that. Hey, at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, are you able to make it a full screen for you? And then don't watch the comment feed, just focus on, that's up to you. Because then you'd be
Oh
able to
no,
read the
I'm good. I don't want to go through no more mirrors. I'm good.
comments.
That's why I was hearing zombies, zombies, zombie. Eh, eh, eh. It's like as soon as we went into it.
Oh, that was too funny because I was trying to get it up and he was like, "Are you reflecting back?" And I was, well, at least you got the reflecting part going on there. I mean,
wow.
Whoa.
And honestly, it's just over time you learn to trust it. And when also realize that you are picking it up through y'all, like we're picking it up through her sight looking at it.
Yeah.
So in this little experiment, we're picking it up. We know that she's looking at a picture and we know that she's sending us an image. But in real life, you're not. You have no idea who's sending you an image, who's talking about you, good, bad, indifferent. You have no idea that weird people have little Barbie dolls on their shelves and they're named after you and they do weird shit to them to try to keep them in their little carriage and put them in their little houses. And I mean, because this is what all this weird ass, it's what they were doing, but so when these little thoughts come in and this is what started with me all of a sudden in 2017. It's like all these little things just came on, and I wouldn't, it took me a while to learn how to trust it,
Right.
and especially to voice it, to voice what I'm seeing, because it's, but what I learned is the crazier the thought is, like the most out, like for instance, I could sit here and talk for like an hour with somebody about their spiritual journey and blah 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 blah. And then we'd get to the end of the hour and I can tell that they're like, whatever. And then I'll say squirrel. And they'll go, oh, I had a dream about a squirrel last night. I woke up in the morning and the squirrel was sitting on my bed in my dream. And I mean, it'll be the most random freaking part of the whole. It'll be the part that won't make any other sense.
Yeah.
But to that person, and it will prove to them that you can see.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to voice it and to trust it.
Yep.
Absolutely. I tend to get out of my own way. I was doing a meditation this morning for someone who's a lovely soul, but definitely has put herself on a very challenging path at this time. And so I just closed my eyes and whatever comes through, I was very commanding with her today. So yeah. And it's kind of at that point in time. But yeah, it's those little words that you say, and then they're like, that makes, when you said this, right? I just feel better listening to your voice. So there's many things that you guys do that you're not even aware. Even your energy going somewhere, you're shifting the energy in a space. There's so many beautiful things around this. Yeah.
We
Yeah,
can do
you
one
do.
more. I just had a thought. We can do this one more little experiment since we're doing these little experiments tonight if we have time.
Okay.
This one's the power of words. So it's a
Okay.
shift because we're going to move out of sight. So we're going to move out of sight to Claire's, and we're going to talk about phonetics and the frequency of words. And all of us have the, like, when you're about to really break open all of your abilities, it's like you've set up a little governor on yourself in different ways that have kept your frequency down or kept your mind going backwards, or because they're little bitty things that you just have to like fix. Okay. Well, one of them is, and I say it sometimes, but there's some people that say it all the time. And this is actually how this came up. I met this woman, this was hers. And she always, every time I would say something wise, she'd go, "That's interesting." Every single time. That's interesting. Okay, so what I want everyone to do, what we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes, and you're going to focus in on your energy and balance it. So let's do that right now. One more breath. Breathe out. Now, I want you to keep your eyes closed and say, "That's interesting," 3 times, and notice how it shifts your energy. Go. Say it out loud.
That's interesting.
Interesting.
That's
That's
interesting.
interesting.
That's
That's
interesting.
interesting.
What do you feel?
Tingling.
Higher vibration.
You feel higher vibration. Do you feel anything around your head or neck?
Right here.
Right here, like it's going around your head, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody else? What do you feel before I tell you what it is?
It just only did one side of me.
One side?
Buzzing. Give me a pit in the chest that brings it down. Chills.
Interesting. So the word interesting, is ignite. So I'm gonna do it in the physics. So interesting is ignite. It's actually omega now because N turns to a Z. So it's ignite, omega, connect, change, motor, change, kundalini, connect, ignite, omega, gamma. So it's like ignite a change, connect a change, motor, and connect. So basically what it's doing is it's making you look inside your head. So whenever you say that's interesting, you're not agreeing that it's real. Number one, you're not going, yeah, right. No, you're like, that's interesting. It's like it literally files it away in your little library to like look it up later. When somebody,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into it. And so it feels like a globe, kind of like you get it like whenever you say that word over and over, because it's what it does. It makes you go in and self-reflect.
Beautiful.
I like that a lot. And you're not sun dancer. Flick that thought away. I can't connect, I guess. Bullshit. You can connect. Yeah, vibration.
Don't say that. That's what you did. That's why you can't. See, it might even be why I'm bringing this up. Because you see how power the word is. So whenever you're telling yourself you can't, like literally, I have to like make sure whenever I first activated, I got skinny and so hot, like really fucking quick because I started using all the ancient things. It's like I suddenly remembered, oh my gosh, if I think my ass is fat, it's gonna be fat. So it's not fat. It's perfect. It's wonderful. And in the beginning, when it was just me and this high physics without all the other crap from the journey and the trauma, I was very easily I could do that. And I did. I changed my whole body by not telling it what it was. The trauma of my journey and the journey and all the different things that have happened then made me slip back into old patterns to where I'm like, I need to go on a diet. Like, what?
Right?
You know the difference. You know the difference. You feel the difference. You're like, where'd that come from? Because it'll sneak right back in on you, and you're like, oh, there you are. You pesky little booger. I knew you was still in there somewhere. So here we go. Let's take care of you right now.
And then it takes me a minute to get, because then I gain a little bit of weight, and then I have to start feeling better about myself again, and then I remember, oh shit, I'm supposed to be looking at models' asses right now to make mine flat. Why am I why am I beating up on myself? I mean, because literally what you stare at, you manifest. If you tell yourself that it's what it looks like, it is. So and even just that, I can't, might even be how you're stopping yourself from fully activating. And then that might be it. That might be all you have to do is start replacing I can with I can't. Every time you say I can't, make yourself say I can't.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Shay had a question. You remember the clock that you put on
It was an
TikTok?
ice.
The one in the ice?
Yeah.
Shay's been seeing that clock probably before. Same clock in the woods, but covered in snow with the same time on it. Yeah.
Well, in the woods, see, because Shay's over there in the Carolinas, where when you said that, what I saw, okay, when you said that, this is I'm going to answer the question, but keep it in the
Yeah.
context of what we're talking about.
Yes, please.
When you said that and you told me that, in my mind, when you said woods, in my mind's eye, what it immediately took me to that little boy that we saved in 2018, and we put him in the, but we knew that we were tracking the divine masculine in the shutdown soul system. So in my, immediately when you said that, that's what I thought of.
Mhm.
So because now at this point in my journey, I have so many experiences that those pop up. So then in my mind, how I connect those things is because I'm shown these different things that are connected. Then my mind starts trying to look at the patterns to see what's connected. And I feel like that's what, and it has to do with that magnetic hold too, and all the earthquakes that are happening on, because it really is like we were held up by a big magnet in a weird way. We were being, it was like a hovercraft, and when and that magnet, and we've been busting that for a while, and it finally, I feel like it finally dropped. That's why the clocks are now working again, because we really were in a weird energy of out of time, just because of what was processing down here on the planet, that that the elites knew that was happening, that none of us knew, where it's being told was happening. So that clock in the middle, well, I knew that was attached to my spaceship. And this is what's interesting, because even the idea to do this on the video today came about Antarctica. So let me tell that. In 2018, there was a guy that was on YouTube that, when we were all activating, because they were still figuring out which one of us had powers and gifts in 2018. And so they had YouTube channels like this, and basically the CIA had stuff on social media that were all kind of like testing us to see which ones of us had what abilities, because the games were about to begin. And so he had this remote viewing thing, and this is the first time that I'd ever done remote viewing, was on a show like this, like that I tried to do what we just did. So if it's the first time for you, this was my first time in 2018, same thing. And he had an envelope, and he put a picture or a word. He just put a word, like how I did it, in an envelope, and he told everyone to tune in on it. And everyone's typing in a little system, we're all trying to kind of in a competition. and we're all like typing what our thing, and I'm seeing, and all of a sudden I get taken underground. And this is answering Shay's question. And I'm on YouTube going, okay, well, I just fell down a shaft. I'm inside of a mountain. There's all these ant people that are lined up on the inside these halls. They've got these spears. These spears they have a spear and a long pole. And I'm walking down the middle of the hall. There's people that are behind me. I'm in the front. And these ant people are all going, whoa, whoa. And they're all like we're marching down the middle, and they led me to a secret room, and my blacked out spaceship was in there. And it was Antarctica. And then I was like, holy crap, because that's the first time that I realized that I could do that. It's the first time I ever tried. So then it wasn't until years later that I was like, oh my gosh, everybody watching knew. Yeah, that I definitely was some bigwig in Antarctica. Now in Antarctica, there is a blacked out spaceship. There's like a room, and this is this is how I see it. So I don't. This is how I saw it. So I can't tell you. And then later on, I found the clock. Okay. There's you go down this hall, and to the left. Now we're also realizing that this has to do with the underground Vatican tombs that they're opening up on Christmas Eve, and the satellite craters on the moon that match up to naming of craters and alphabet tones. Okay. And so anyway, I'm because whenever you're coming out of a pyramid, like it's laid out for death. They build the pyramid. It's like you resurrect, and then you have to go right, turn left, go forward, and most tombs are set up to go this way. None of them were set up to go this way. So, but everything was all these angles in this, right? So it was like that. And I got to the end, and there was this little room to the left. And when I walked in and closed the door, is pitch ass black. You couldn't see shit. Like pitch black to where even the walls wherever we were looked like black glass. And then I walked in, and I kind of peered, and just a little bit of light came in and hit, and I had my spaceship. And I knew it was my spaceship, and I demanded that they take me to it. So then it was later on with everything in art and in my world, RJ Bird and Bird and Alcatraz and Birdman, and even the Bird Unit in Huntsville, Texas Penitentiary. And the experiments in the penitentiaries and all of that was in my super soldier, crazy ass, whatever the F balls DNA line that I hold. And so it was also connected into Shambhala, inner earth. So the connection is like inner earth, and inner earth being formed from the mummifications in Egypt, because that's in mummification. When we buried the queens, all the queens are buried in that circuit. But then in the mummification intention process, and that's why you see all those lime whatever kind of stone, they look like tubs that are laying all over Egypt, but they've got the hole in the middle. Well, those were lined up kind of like pods, and then it's like energetic plasma currents. But in the tomb, in death, the intention from the queen and what the mummification was to be that connection, which ended up forming what we call Shambhala, which is inner earth, and then ended up forming consciousness, and the connection into the core and everything else. So seeing those two line up, and then all the clocks turning on after the earthquake. What is there? I mean, that's what, yeah.
There's a certain level of magnetism to that because of how the negative ion, depending on how far it is from the center of the nuclei, and how it gets put back on track because it's spinning so fast. But at least this is how I see what you're expressing to me, because a lot of just what I was understanding today brought me to the conclusion and understanding of the truth of understanding what a supernova is in our universe when we connect it from the heart to understand it as far as what it means for us in form as far as where Kundalini is concerned. Because when you understand what a supernova, whenever it has reached its point of transition, so to speak, because it's ran its course. When it's supernovas with a spark, and with that spark, what it does is it's new, because it's new energy, which is utilized through hydrogen and helium, and then turns to carbon, because then we're talking about matter, so to speak.
Okay, well, in
2000, with the rest of the elements.
In 2008, it's 2019, whenever I blew out of the matrix and all that crazy shit happened at the end of February. That was that night after when that DNA came in, and that was 3 hours that I was working that DNA, because basically what they did is they would get like in certain DNA, in certain time counts, they'd get all their military people, their top military people, to go all jizz in a cup and then make some babies out of it. Or they'd get top whatever, right? Well, in this last one, they got all the biggest, baddest fucking magicians, wizards, and jinn. Because it was their last ride. It was going to be their last body template. They were trying to control it and create it. So what they did was go get the wizards and jinn. And this is how we became so powerful. This is how all this got turned on. Well, when they came to give me and inseminate me in the earth, then that's why it took me 3 hours to process all of that, because I was using their DNA to turn ours back on.
You became the new earth. I get it. Because certain, to a level and degree, when we understand how they express the universe to us.
Well, the first thing I had to do was turn on helium. So I had to go downstairs and get on. The reason I was in the sub chamber, and part of the reason was because they made gas and Comax. My energy does make. That's why a lot of people go to sleep. If you're not high frequency, they'll watch this shit and go to sleep listening to us talk, because it's so high frequency. But the Comax and being in that chamber and being pressurized is what made gas available for deep space travel and underwater diving, because we didn't even have that. But I mean, we were okay. So me knowing about that gas when I blew out, and them having a way to tell me about it, is what sent me to the computer, because I couldn't breathe. So I got to the computer, and they were like, go look. I was hearing Comax, so I go look up Comax, and then I'm seeing shit, and I'm going and then they're like, go look up helium, and I'm writing it down, because at this point I'd already learned my numerology and stuff and how to communicate with them, all the different ancestors and stuff. But I mean, that was a process. So, but I had to order all the helium. We needed a bunch of helium. And so we had to order the helium released for us to breathe, because also at one point, all of our ribs felt like they were closing in on our, all the girls were feeling like that. That was in 2018. And so we had to order the helium. The next day in Dallas, Party Cities had to shut down because none of their tanks had helium to do balloons.
And it's just fascinating that we're able to have this conversation because I come through what I was watching today just went right, like just boom. I was like, now I get it. Because the reason why you had to do the helium is because there was too much carbon.
Whatever it was, like I did. But what really blew my mind was, okay, so we can release gas out of metal without touching a valve.
Right?
And whenever I saw that, let's just say my game got upped a little bit.
It's all about how many numbers of how much of the nitrogen is within each component. So
see, and because we really are changing the and I gotta say it because it's haunting my head right now. Right before I came on here, there's a TikTok going around because we're also still finding out a bunch of stuff because on this experimental stuff now it's just now starting to come out. So it's the real Powerpuff Girls is what they're calling them. It's three girls. One of them's name is June, okay, which happens to be my supposed birth mother's twin sister's name, and this is Judy and June, and so there's three little girls that are made by the laboratories. They end up making these three little girls. They're the true Powerpuff Girls because they have these abilities. Stranger Things 11, but there's three of them. Okay, well, and this is what blows my mind about it because I mean, there's a part of this journey where I knew I blew Samael out, like Samael or Samuel, or his name was Sam. Like there was one part when I went raw that I was like, I knew wherever we were, I was going, Sam, this place is fixing to blow up. Can you get out of here? And he was like, no. And so we went and put everybody to sleep in the camp to get us out and then take them with them. Well, this little story is about these girls that end up tricking these guards and putting them all to sleep and fuck because they could fuck with their heads and they were able to escape. Well, same story is from the Alcatraz, the three that escaped Alcatraz that they supposedly hunted forever. And then so if you take those three boys and those three girls and you got the Brady Bunch, and then you track the Brady Bunch all throughout history on a time count that keeps repeating over and over again, that these girls actually know what the F's going on, and then their abilities breed babies, and then those babies and all of those people that have those consciousness then create their own consciousness. Now it's like to this extent that little June that 6 years old could tumble down a wall. Now she's tumbling down like ice walls because of all the people that are in the line with her, and this is and it's what's happening. This is why it's like all of a sudden you're going to have abilities that you didn't know that you had. Welcome to the party. It's what happened to us. Your recessive genes are getting turned on. Recessive because someone else was using your power for a really long time. And so just whatever it is, however it's hitting you, you're still picking it up because your energetic body it is in the vibration of all of us. We're all different. You know, some of it's mind power. Mine happens to be more mind power, but I have Lyra 1, you know, that I'm Jupiter in Lyra 1. So it's like in Mary Magdalene. So it's like on the brain side, you probably won't be able to beat me. But if from a physical side of like feeling, you know, like having a feeling, oh, you're gonna beat me because I chose not to see.
No,
I was like,
I'm just having
Libra.
fun. I'm just having fun. You know,
No,
it's
no, but
like,
I'm giving an example of how how me and Misha in New Orleans, I'll say this last thing and I'll hush it. Me and Misha in New Orleans, walking through New Orleans, we're on a mission, all this shit's going on. And she's a seer. She can see. Like, thank God I couldn't see. Like, I wouldn't have been able to make it out of this if I saw everything. Because of traveling with her. Because I know what so we're walking down the sidewalk and I feel this inner because I just kind of sense and I don't even feel it in my skin. It's more when I even say I feel, it's like I'm seeing a shadow or something. It's happening in my third eye. And I felt something, and we're walking, and this is in New Orleans, and it's nighttime, and I'm like, I do something like that, and Misha's walking behind me, and we don't stop. We just keep walking, and she goes, holy shit. And I'm like, I'm like, what? Because I'm in front of her. I'm like, let's just keep walking. Just keep walking. She's like, did you see that? No. Oh my God, those entities. There were so many of them, Chastia. They're all. And I'm like, shut up. I don't want to know. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Because I still got to go do the mission, man. Like, but she could
That's kind of like
see
me
it.
and T.
Right?
It is. That's me and T. Because there's certain, there's certain things she's like, okay, well, I'm glad you can see that.
Yeah.
And because I'm with her, but wherever she goes, I go, kind of thing. So it's like it's profound just to have this conversation and just to understand and recognize just connections and how powerful they become and what they are when you're with another, and how much you're capable of doing where there is more than one gathered in your name. So it's just profound, and thank you for the conversation. That was beautiful and profound for me, at least. But it just lets me know that I just keep going. So.
Well, that comment right there, I'm wondering how many adopted people have a supposed birth mother that's named 4 letters that starts with a J.
Right?
It's like Jean, Judy, June, Jerry.
My mom's middle name is Dean, but
my middle name is Jade.
My middle name is Jean, Jean.
Yeah.
That's such a trip.
My daughter's name is Jade, and then so it's there. Yeah, Jane, Jean. Look at this. Unbelievable.
Well, I think a lot of us that go find out who our birth parents are that are adopted, we get fed a story. And I can't wait for us to all get in a room and like make a book about all the different stories, because I guarantee you it's only going to be like 3 root stories.
Yeah. No, it's good. And Carolyn's saying, holy shit, I was adopted, Chastia, and it was me that said my mother's name was Jean. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's always, it was a date rape. It's always the story. But it's never violent. It's more so like they just got fazzazzled by one of the men, but and then it's like they just flipped them over, and just it's like when they's ready, because I mean they all had Y and I don't know much about supposedly my birth father, which is definitely a super soldier type, whatever the F balls, except that he had enlarged Y chromosome, and he was supposedly super docile and like fun loving. Like I have 3 pictures of the man that were sent to me, and one of them's with Brooke Shields from her Blue Lagoon days.
Mm.
Wow, that's young.
Yeah, way back. And the large Y chromosome, and but this is also the same thing as like space, people coming out of space, and the masculines getting here, and like the moon hitting them, and them losing their mind, and then killing their whole family. Well, within the super soldier line, it was sexual how they reacted, and just whenever they wanted it, like they just took it. But I mean, that is how royal people acted, isn't it?
Right.
But I mean, most of them ended up, because so the stories that we will get and is that it was a date, and not only was supposedly my birth father done that for me, whenever I found and got this story and got a connection, it's how he was born.
Wow. You start to really see the Yeah, we're seeing behind the veil behind you dropping more and more and more.
Well, and then to know that in another dimension, even you can think of it as the insemination process of them taking those different sperms, putting them together, and then mixing something up, then in a higher dimension, then it's going to change the line. And then what was happening in the 60s and 70s is those date rapes were happening because they were doing it in a higher dimension. It was having to form down here to be made. So this where all the raping and all that kind of stuff started happening. It's how sex started become. Otherwise, you wouldn't have ever got with this person.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. And look at this. So Judy Garland, Red Shoes just sold 7th of December, 8th in Australia, was shown in London, United Kingdom before returning for auction in Texas. Guess how much? 32.5 million for a pair of fucking shoes.
Y'all see that?
I see a 3.
2, 3.
Oh, the 2, 3. That's right. Yeah.
Talking
Okay.
degrees, darling. We're talking degrees.
Right.
Well, I'm just saying. You said 23 million. I had 32 written over here.
I'm just getting degrees. I just
Yeah.
kept hearing it's degrees, honey, especially with the 0.5.
Yeah. I'm just even, because like keeping pictures in your phone, doing screenshots, and you might not know why you're taking this screenshot, but go back in a year and look at the day of what pictures and screenshots you took, and it'll blow your cookie cutter because you're showing yourself that you knew what was going to happen. And that's even kind of like the feeling of this falling down to 23, and then that even coming up on the video. It felt like one of those things that it was like our reality was showing us that and this is the day the shoes sold. It's like it, and that is an example of what Shay was talking about with the Antarctica and the
clock.
Her clock had a portal in the middle. Fascinating, right? Absolutely.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
There we go. Texas is back in the picture. Do we need to flip it upside down, or do we need to?
Right.
Careful with that now. Careful.
Man, like yesterday was a trip. It was just so clear. What is that name? What is that? Cooper?
Coder.
CODER.
Who is that?
That was Sundancer.
Wow, the Babylonians techno stuff is actually starting to get a little out of hand. The way I made. Yes. You know what, y'all? I'm pretty sure it's how it's been.
Right?
Given your Oklahoma thing, and it was trying to direct you in Oklahoma, where Oklahoma was.
Let me see if I can pull it up. Because we are the GPS. We hold that magnetism pole, and so on my ways, throughout this, whenever I'm driving these energy gates, it'll flip upside down, and it'll show me a different image. It first happened after 2022, whenever I went raw, and I was leaving California. And it was the first time that I had left California, but it looked like I was going the opposite direction. And it looked like the whole time I was going north, but I was really going east. And it was the whole trip in ways. But yesterday morning, whenever I got up to go to College Station, Texas, which this is south. So basically this is saying that, whoa, this is saying that this is Dallas Fort Worth. way down here, and that I'm going to College Station, and this is Houston. So it has basically Houston where Dallas should be. And whenever I got in the car, this is what it came up as. But even I knew that the tip of Texas saved the world. It did. I still don't know how exactly, like the simulation, because remember, it's the map. The map in the land is not exactly what we were. What's it's more like it's the tip of the simulation, or the piece that's actually attached to the actual landmass. And what's been coming up a lot recently is how we keep saying how big the world is, and you have to look at everything from such a macro perspective. And what's been coming out a lot in the media and information the past even just few days is how certain beings back in the early, I don't even know, 1400s, 1500s, I don't even know when it all started, but they purposely changed all of our education and maps and Babylonian blah 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 to make us think that we were on where we are is actually way smaller, you know, than what we're told. And this is also like how I know that I should only take me 3 hours to get to the Netherlands from Dallas. They just make you fly all the way around, but you really don't have to with everything that's built up over the way that they have it. So Texas was the last. Texas held all the other land. It's from my perspective, whenever everything was birthing through, it's like the tip of Texas is kind of like a dragon's snout, and the United States in a way is it's kind of like a big eel, and the tip of Texas was like the giant snout. And then when this was all happening, I was getting reports from the people that chart this stuff, and they had all the little poles with the red dots that were showing like radiation and also where there was still contact. And when it was all happening, only the ones at the tip of Texas were still lit up. And this was last year, 2023, whenever they did whatever. It's like all the other ones had gotten taken over by AI, but ours had held in order to blast the rest of them out.
Yeah.
But that's how I saw it.
Wow.
But yeah, I think it's more like I think y'all are below us.
Probably. Look, do we? Yeah.
And
What's
it even
up
felt
early,
that way.
though?
And it even felt that way because, like, on the way back, when I came back this time, it was, I mean, there was low clouds. It was raining. Oh man, the pressure was crazy. They were the roads and it was like had to go further north. Like I took a high frequency up north, and then I immediately had to drive. If I would have stayed there a couple of days, my ride back wouldn't have been bad, but I went and turned around and came back. When you do that and you're a powerful being clearing land, you're going against your own current, and it sucks. And so that's what I ended up driving against. But it was low white clouds that were clearing all over. And this is like, on 45. So there's no mountains. This is flat ass Texas, bumfuck Egypt, Texas, driving highways for 5-6 hours. And we had these huge white clearing clouds that, I mean, some of them even looked like they were even touching electric poles. They were so low. And then just a constant sprinkle, but it was so dense, but it was white.
Yeah. I've been
Sounds
to
like our
Texas.
drive around Yucatan.
Man, I don't even know. I just knew. I kept going. And like the cars that were around me, and they fuck with me. I've learned, I learned not to, I don't even react, but like there was one girl that was driving next to me, and every single time she'd go to pass me, she'd just stand right next to me. like, and we'd be driving next to each other down the road, and then I started feeling something kind of pulling on my energy grid, and I'm like, oh hell no. Are y'all fucking with me right now, driving in this rain with my, of course you are, you know, even the land's gonna make that come up. But anyway, it was a clearing experience. It wasn't just a drive home.
Hmm. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, Shay's outside now. She just upchecked. she did a purge.
Oh
Yeah.
no, she just threw up.
Yeah, and it's got a hot flash. I'm like, yeah, you're purging, you're clearing, and that's probably actually really good for your system. So, yeah, I just told her,
And
yeah,
connecting to what I said with answering her question might have done it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All have to remember as you go through this that grounding is your best friend, especially as you tap in more and you remote view or you're getting messages. You got to remember the physical. Yeah. Vomit 4 times. Ouch. Yeah, I don't like puking.
Sending you some
Yeah.
love.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did it. I mean, I was in the bed. I didn't think I was gonna make it tonight. I got back here and I woke up with my head on the left, and it was just right here. I had Tanja tune in on it, and she was like, "I feel it." I'm like, "Oh man!" And I was having to dig in my eye. It was in my eye socket. It was like right behind.
I
But
could
on
feel it back in here. Yeah. Yeah, and I just kept working on it, kept working. I'm like, "Oh, she's gonna be tired."
man,
Yeah,
and it
because it was like
finally. But I was getting that nauseous and all that, and that's the other thing with driving. I mean, even me connecting that story that Shay had the question and us talking through it could have pulled her through like a vertigo situation, like I drove yesterday. Even Dawn ended up going one way on a one way, got all confused. She's another AB negative that was driving when I was driving. And whenever I was going through those gates, I just kept losing my like it's like I was, and I drive all over the place. I never have it. I was getting vertigo. Like I'd even, I mean, at one point, a few times I've like just slammed on the brakes going down the highway because it was like I was so disassociated. It looked like these people were going the wrong way and I was going the wrong way, or nobody was moving, or we was flying. But even her feeling through that would make her sick. Cause I was getting nauseous with it yesterday and today.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sending you all so much love. Nobody said this was all sunshine, roses, and lollipops, and unicorns and rainbows.
And in the chat, I just have to bring this up that in Georgia, where I lived before I came to Canada, there was a Hollywood, Georgia. And what's fascinating, my sister brought that up. But what's
Yeah.
even more fascinating is Sundancer's not far from there.
Mm.
Oh wow. Well, this all went down in Hollywood, Los Angeles, and Hollywood, Florida. Hollywood, Florida was last year with the Seminoles and all that. So I didn't even know that there was a Hollywood, Georgia. And that guy Vic Matador on TikTok that does his name's Vic Matador, and he's on VIC, and he's on TikTok, and he's a super spiritual African American. Like he's got a good vibe, and he talks to the clouds, and he just moved to Georgia, and so he like talks to him, and and he takes these pictures, and he's like getting these cloud pictures clear in space that I know that were like, it's nuts. We were seeing Jesus, and I mean all, because you can see the angel blast in, and the angel's so bright, and then you look right above the angel and it's like this fucking evil looking right above it.
You want to know what's funny? Lonnie and Burt Reynolds bought a place in Hollywood, Georgia.
Whoa, okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Pomona, Florida it was 2019, right before I blew out of the Matrix. This woman named Joyce Mason flew me to Florida, and it was about she worked for a 5G company, and I knew somehow they like anchored us down and anchored down our mermaid or something. Well, they were trying to get me on a Netflix show talking about Burt Reynolds' Dinner Theater, which is in Jupiter, Florida. And there was a guy that was in her little group that was involved in the Burt Reynolds Theater, which ended up being some type of down low sexual type whatever. And when I left and I was still talking to Joyce, she pulled up in the car and told me she was out front of the theater, and I did light language, and that the next day is when that guy got arrested.
Wow.
New England Patriots owner.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't remember. I can't recall his name right now. But I remember that time.
And throughout this, like, I even have Cannonball Run on my I have the Cannonball Run LP on my playlist, and driving around and doing different pieces of it. I was always playing because I felt like I was on, like, the Cannonball Run basically was what I did. But I just did the cosmic version of it. But even whenever Burt Reynolds was doing in that show, and the Smokey and the Bandit and the Cannonball Run and all that, what just happened in 2020 and 2021 when they had all of us all over the world running around is what they were mimicking when they were blasting out those shows back then.
Wow. Because I was all over the North whenever I was doing the work, doing the reset merchandising. But what's funny is that as I'm sitting here looking at this, Sundancer's talking about White County. Well, here you go, Sundancer. I lived in White County from 2001. It's just.
Okay, so you grew up in White County?
No, I lived in White County. I grew up in Hall County. I grew up in Hall County. Moved to White County, WHITE.
Right. In Hall, HALL.
And I grew up in Hall County.
the by the Evergreen in Louisiana. So it's between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. It's Ophuicus. And it really is like Ophusias. They made it like Ophusias on the land, but it's Ophuicus, because Louisiana's a trip, man. It's all owned by corporations. It's fucking weird. Anyway, Ophuicus. And Ophuicus, the only thing I really had to, and that's where I saw the golden calf. I've got a picture of a golden calf that was in the middle, and it was glowing. But it was right after I cleaned the white cemetery in Ophuicus, and it's this weird cemetery. It's white, a little white building, an old building, and no Jesus memorabilia. It was all like, looked like Paul Revere on a horse, like a colonial person on a horse.
Yeah.
And then the swamp runs right through it. Okay. And that's where all the birch trees are, which is what I married into, a birch. And really, we soak up everyone's shit. It's like what it was. But they have all these birch trees that are in the creek. But all the burials faced away from the church. I mean,
wow.
Is the most Hogan, Kerr, Kerr, Hogan was a big one there. Anyway, I have pictures because they're family lines that you know of, but that's the white cemetery. And then my office in GIA Technology was at Hall Office Park.
We lived in Alto, Georgia. Alto in Spanish means stop.
Stop.
I love it.
Right? Wow. That was a lot of things, you guys.
Yes, I'm familiar with the Cabbage Patch Hospital in Cleveland, Georgia.
Because look, it's this. What's crazy? It's the same thing, different dimension
Wow.
of the simulation. It really just depends on what frequency you're experiencing it. See, I was experiencing it from Louisiana and the hall and a cemetery and a and the hall office park ended up being, but then those are the same things that are in her world. They're there, you're seeing them, you're saying them. It's the street name, it's the college you go to, it's whatever. It's in the story. It's just two different perceptions of where it's put.
Well, ours was the Cabbage Patch Hospital in Cleveland, Georgia. Is where you could go in, you could create a Cabbage Patch. Cabbage Patch Kid.
Well, I know Cabbage Patch Kids, but like
this was like what you would call a general hospital. You could go in and create your own Cabbage Patch doll.
A doll, though, not a baby. Supposedly. Supposedly.
It would come out of cabbage.
See, that's that.
But they moved it from where it was to another location.
Well, I'm starting to think that the Cabbage Patch Kids that they made the dolls of, that all had a birth certificate, and they came in the 80s, and me knowing how the dimensions were screwed up and how they stole 6 billion from the future, like, that is kind of, and I mean, and what's crazy is, like, if that was the intention, if the intention was to make a doll and the intention was for all of us to buy it, and and the intention was to then pull that child from a future dimension into this one to basically hand it over to the child. Okay, you know what? I'd be wondering if you had a Cabbage Patch doll, did you end up having a kid? I wonder if there's anybody out there that had a Cabbage Patch doll. Did you have a Cabbage Patch doll? See,
No.
I'm wondering if anybody that got a Cabbage Patch doll that didn't end up having a child.
Well, from what she's saying, there was a cloning up underneath the Cabbage Patch Hospital.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
There's that. So, I mean, this is beautiful that we're able to sit here and be able to bring this real time live, be able to make these connections for people to understand how this has been going down, how this has been being, manipulated and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I want to know how it correlates with Build-A-Bear.
Well, right. See, the whole time she was saying that, that's what I was, because even at like Great Wolf Lodge, you go get a wolf and then you stuff the message inside the wolf. I mean, that's what I was seeing. That's why I was like, but I've never thought about that before. But realize with the powers that they had, see this is why whenever I made that video this week, and I was like, don't think like Tesla, think like Disney. Don't think like Tesla. You got to think like Disney. You got to manifest like Disney right now, because that's how crazy it's going to end up becoming. You got to do it that way, because if you do it mechanical way, it ain't going to happen, because it ain't going to make any sense.
Right.
But them doing that would, if they sold dolls and their intention was to pull that child from the future and then bring it into this dimension, knowing that we were already Generation X and we were on some weird ass shit anyway, right? Mm-hmm. And then that would potentially manifest in another dimension, actually babies being born out of plants.
Right? Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
It's crazy. It blows my mind.
We're claiming it all back now. Yeah, absolutely. And don't feel bad, Carolyn. It was what it was. Yeah, there's nothing to regret around it. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You manifested it. Yeah. Yep.
Well, and I had to get my Cabbage Patch doll out. Let me go get it. I for a while last year, I mean, because there was a piece of this that, because I was coming in from 0 point, and I was manifesting my family, but I'm sitting here
Mhm.
by myself. So there, over the past 3 or 4 years, there's been many times within the journey, but mostly last year was a lot of it. Was I'd have to have five. I had a monkey, a gorilla, a couple of dolls,
Yeah.
and so I always had like five around me, but they were Rex and who was supposed to be my twin to come in. Now that position's open, universe. I got 4 seats.
And it's funny that you say that. She's getting her Cabbage Patch
I'm gonna
doll.
get my Cabbage Patch doll because I
Yeah,
got
because Jade has those stuffies, and they're literally lined up on her bed like they're all her buddies, right?
I wonder. I wonder if this had anything to do with the you remember? Oh shit! Look, wow, this is just bringing so much clarity because when they had the Beanie Babies and they were crazy, it was a time that McDonald's carried Beanie Babies to be able to get in fucking Happy Meals. I should know. It was crazy that time that those were coming through.
I
And
guess it's
so
downstairs.
that is like, oh my God, because wow, my mind is just going crazy.
I guess it's downstairs, but you just said
Yeah.
Beanie Baby. I guess it's downstairs. So I didn't. I got all the dolls in it because it was really freaky. I had to resurrect like my grandmother's dolls. Like one of them was made by my grandmother. The other one was made by my other grandmother. Like there was intention in them. Like they were handmade dolls. And then I had the Cabbage Patch doll. But that's what I was doing. I was having, because I knew in another dimension, whatever I was coming through in that minute was the first one through, but there were really four other with me. So it's like I knew to kind of mark it. Plus, it also helped me keep my mind straight whenever I go back to that scene and those. Now, this is what I want y'all to know about things with eyes in it in your room. They work.
Mm-hmm.
If you in this energy, if you have any, and pictures too, like be careful, like any pictures that you have in your room pointing at your bed with eyes, and even just in your bedroom where you're sleeping, just realize that in this quantum weird reality of fucking abilities, every single one of these eyes can be utilized to stare at you if the person knows what they're doing. Now, at the same time, you can use these. So this is what I would do whenever I was traveling in hotels and going through all this crazy shit. I had this one little. It ended up being Biden in the end, and his little brains and little Biden. but it's this little bird, and it's got these eyes. And so when I'd get to a hotel, if I was feeling anything trippy, or you can do this at your house if your neighbors trip you out, or if there's some take your little animals, your little figurines, anything that's got eyes, put it on the windowsill, point it towards their house, and tell them and say tune in, and you'll see it. If there's some weird activity that's coming over there, you'll pick it up in the shadow, and because you're watching them. But I mean, use them too, but just FYI, any of that going on. Now, whenever I had them all in my bed, I knew they had eyes. I needed them to be working. I wasn't worried about it. I put them there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whenever you're conscious that that's what's going on, it's much harder for them to use them. It's when you're not conscious and then you look up and you're like, oh my God, I've got 100 Beanie Babies in my room and I'm over here screaming that I'm getting spiritually attacked. We
This is
just
so
did a freaking Vatican clearing on your ass. Turn them around.
this is so amazing. It's bringing so much more clarity. But you talking about utilizing the dolls for what you can even see that in movies. All right, so it's like when we come to understand, we come to those clarities of understanding that this was all around us. And that's the reason why we say you can't sit here and be hard on yourself because you didn't know, but you do now. And what beautiful thing about this is now you get to understand that in that you become so much more empowered because now your awareness and you're conscious of the choices you're making from here.
Right? Yeah, nothing to freak out about, just now that you're aware. It's why I would never have a mirror in my bedroom. Yeah,
I mean,
mirrors.
Oh man, see, when I was unconscious, I love mirrors. Oh my God. I mean, I had basically I had a headboard that was a mirror. I was
Yeah.
chink chink a down. Like I love I was all about looking at myself, watching myself. And then whenever I activated this person came over, and it ended up being a whole weird thing with this being. But he was like, "What are you doing? You've got mirrors all over. Like you don't feel these energy pinging around." And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So then he covers them, and I even had like silver stuff on the wall that was, so it was like a mirror, and then I had the silver stuff and ding 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 ding. I know now that I left it up and had it up because what it does when you're unconscious is helps keep you unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Because you basically set up a little like weird cat burglar force field around you, right? But then whenever you but it's keeping you sealed. So whenever you do find out about this stuff, you can also realize you're getting an activation. Because you're not gonna there's a reason. If you still have a whole bunch of eyes around you and you're hearing this right now, there's a reason you still had them looking at you.
Yeah.
So because you're gonna find out to take it down exactly when you need to take it down, and not a second sooner. So then the real question is, why'd you keep them up so long, and why'd you have them, and why were you letting them watch you? Were you letting them watch you so that we could fucking get away with it? Probably. But now take them down, because now you're the important thing.
Right? Yeah. And it's funny, even old pictures in my house, there's no old pictures. I don't post all these photos of, I'm like, nope, that's no.
See, and that's something that ended up happening with me just because of having to leave the house and packing stuff up and if I wouldn't have had to do that, I would have kept all that up. But there's also I mean, that's a great point. Like if you have God wants you to go walk through your house and look at every picture or anything that's up that someone's given you, even, and if you get a funny feeling, take it down. If it
Yeah.
makes you sad, if it's a memory that makes you sad, I don't care if it's your dead grandmother and da da da. If it's a memory that makes you sad, every time you look at it, take it down. Get it out of your energy. Or if it's an energy that you're picking up and you're not sure what it is, like me and those dolls. I mean, they're with all this crazy family stuff. It was like these German Czechoslovakian ancestors knew what the hell is like. They even gave me those damn dolls. It would have been great if they would have put for the end of the world, make sure it's in your bed 2023, but the intention as they sat there and sewed it was in it. I read it. So even these old little figurines and things that your ancestors, or that was handed down to you, everybody else got da 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 da, but all you got was that lousy chest. Well, write down some intention to ask with that chest. Why do you have it?
Yeah, I still want to know about my family gems, but hey, we're just about running on 2 hours here,
Yeah.
guys.
I'm tired.
And we're all vibrating, and yeah, we gotta wind down and sleep at some point. And you guys in the chat, you've been amazing today. We loved playing with you. Yeah, we're super grateful. Absolutely. And yeah, let us know how it goes with that tuning it out. And you can always play a game with somebody else that is open to by the white envelope. I've done that many times. Could be an item, a picture, a place, right? Whatever you want to do. And yeah, it's quite profound. So you guys are all doing amazing. Yeah.
Look how much.
And
Yeah.
just one little house cleaning thing with CoHue32.com. The site is
Please.
not working right now. We know, these ladies know what's going on. Like I told you, I've been everything known to man that could try to block us getting this information to y'all's happen. So right now and I'm starting the charts again tomorrow. So I've got like 3 or 4 charts. I had to take a break and clear, this had to clear. So if you're waiting for charts, I'll be getting those this week. And I'll just pay attention. I'll come on and tell I'm working with these ladies. There'll be ways to get it. Right now, though, it's more so if you don't have one yet, that's fine. There's a reason. Just pay attention to it with this, with everything else as we're talking to over here, or do coloring book, or we're going to be doing some more events to lead y'all in a group session like this to do your own, which is magical because then you can do anybody else's with their approval. So that's some little
Absolutely.
house cleaning on that.
Yeah. Are you getting messages on the site, Chastia? Sundancer's asking if you.
No. Pretty
Okay.
much, we don't know. We don't know if it gets out, what's coming in, what's not coming in.
Okay.
You know the issue with the
Yeah.
website,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so I'm just having to do them on a one. I know on their website we'll be able to put some stuff up to get them ordered again.
Yeah.
When we get that built out, but the coloring book and then us hosting a session to do the coloring book. And then I'm getting moved around and doing some things over the next couple of months, and I'll be able to do more services this year as things get a little bit tenser. Like right now, you're where you need to be. Do not stress.
Yeah.
Get what, just like with our website, like every single thing has to be there's going to be some type of blockage feeling that you've got to move around it and build a solution around it. And I mean, but until then, that everything's fine, you're where you're supposed to be, the solution will come when you need it. So we know that whenever we get this all back up and going, we're making sure that it's done in a way that we can keep them pumping and keep the whole thing rolling. And those of you who got them already, there's a reason that you got them when you did.
Yeah. Be patient and be really kind to yourself right now. Yeah. Take care of you. Be your own mother.
Yeah.
At this point, it's very much needed. Norma, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, just some, just so y'all know, if there's anything you need as far as where Chastia is concerned, and since we're working together to come up with solutions, just reach out to us on our contact page on Adventures for Connection. There,
Perfect.
you just go to the contact page. You can put in your name, your email address, the subject, and then put your message in there, and we'll do what we can to get all this maneuvered and taken care of, and whatever else needs to, whatever needs to take place. So just know that if you getting in touch with Chastia directly may be an issue, just reach out to us on Adventures for Connection on our contact page, and we'll get everything taken care of. So know we're here.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, you guys, we love you. Have a beautiful night, and thank you for joining us. And this will become a regular thing.